There is beef amongst the toy collector community. Last week, Boog Nice and TalkerArt went on Shartimus Prime's second YouTube channel to do a little hashing out of grievances. It lasted 2 hours, or too long anyway, so this is your too long, didn't read recap. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Strong Collectors Podcast. I'm your host, Dakota, here with my co-host, Jordan. And like I said, there is beef amongst the community.
Isn't there always, though, Dakota?
Oh, that's true. There are people that I think this is within the scope of Marvel Legends mostly. I mean, both of them kind of collect other things, but
right.
I would say they're primarily, well, I don't even know. TalkerArt might not be primarily Marvel Legends. Honestly,
they
I don't
at
know
least
that much.
Dabble in Legends, so
yeah. So
I think they have quite a few fans that know them from their Legends
right
affiliations. So
and that's kind of where I
fair.
saw a lot of the. Well, I guess that's the main groups I'm in is Marvel Legends groups, and I saw kind of like the repostings and the questions and the comments and all that stuff from those types of groups. So I guess maybe that's kind of our perspective coming into it. But Jordan, you don't really know either of these YouTube personalities, really.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I'd heard of them. You know, I'm obviously I think I'm most familiar with Shartimus doing the moderating. But I'd heard of Boog, and I think I've seen some of his stuff, but kind of Talker I just knew in passing. Like I'd heard that name before. So
yeah. And look, I guess this is similar to our Shartimus video. Who were we? Some small-time action figure podcast. Don't take what we say as, law.
This is exactly what happened and why it happened.
Right. We don't know any of these people personally. I'd love to meet some of you guys personally. But,
right.
So.
I do agree with you. It's interesting, and it's also interesting to see, like, the way the community gets involved. Sometimes, it can be... Because, it's like when you're not part of it, you don't really know.
Right.
Some people, I think, at least even from the comments on the stream or even in the groups, are very polarized to, like, one side or the other, or, get super involved. To be quite honest, it's like I don't care enough to, like, get online and be like, no, this is why so-and-so was right. But it's interesting because obviously they do have large groups of people who tune into them and want to know what's going on. So at the very least, it's interesting to see, like, the way different channels kind of converge or crossover and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So I think going into it, I didn't really tell you much about either one of them or what the beef was about, because as you tend to be kind of the observer and the fresh eyes in most situations. So I'll let you kind of give us the recap, and maybe I'll fill in some blanks if you have any, if I know, because again, I don't, not personally connected to any of these guys, but I follow along the YouTube community a little bit more than. Do you even watch YouTube, Jordan? Do you just watch the Strong Collectors and that's it?
I mainly just watch the Strong Collectors. Yeah, it's my favorite channel. So.
Okay. I mean, that's honestly what it seems like. I don't know.
I guess, I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, maybe I'm a hypocrite because I'm on a toy channel and not watching other toy channels, but I mean, I'll look up, like, a review every so often if I'm, like, on the fence of, like, should I get this, should I not? I kind of want to see it in hand type thing.
You usually go towards, like, D-Amazing, don't you?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's more up my alley. And I think part of it is because you and I are both pretty, like, up in the know and, like, involved in the groups and, like, what's going on or what's coming up or like leaks, I guess. Well, of course, I'll check those out, like with Rectangular and those things. But
okay,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've watched tons, even though I know this, but I'm also much more into like trying to grow YouTube and stuff like that. But like I'll watch
It's true.
Shartimus sometimes, Toy Shiz, Dan Who, displaying model behaviors. I think I've watched like almost, not all, but like as when we got back into collecting, since then I've probably seen all of Boog's videos, Nerdzoic. So, all right. You give us the recap now, Jordan. The observer from the outside.
Well, I didn't even know this was like an ongoing feud, I guess, until a couple days ago when you texted me about it. I think it was day out. So you're like, hey,
yeah, I think I was like, hey, this is kind of news in the community. Watch this.
Right. Yeah. So I totally forgot, I guess, last summer. I think we'd both seen that video of Talker at Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, showing off, filming the legends. And then, of course, there was that interaction with Dan of like, this is what you guys should be doing. You could be doing better. I love you, but I hate you.
Mm-hmm.
And admittedly, I think most people who saw that and reacted to it thought that Dan seemed kind of like, how would you describe that?
I mean, Dan didn't seem happy to be talking to him.
Right.
But I think from the outside, you either had the perspective of, oh, yeah, go get them. Like, tell them their product is junk, even though you're collecting it. Or it was like, wow, you're kind of being a jerk. And like he was kind of asking, like, when am I going to get my toy reveal? And
right.
Like, why would we give you a toy reveal? You're nothing but mean. So
that
was kind of the vibes I got.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I thought too, where it's like if I were face to face with Dan and like recording, So I guess, like, I always think it's odd to take those opportunities to be like, now that I got the team, I'm gonna nail them, and it's like, you're not really gonna like change anything, I don't think, in those like small interactions, but ultimately too, it's like, as we've talked about before, most of those issues people have aren't the fault of the Hasbro guys we see.
Right. The like marketers are just marketing what's been decided, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they maybe have some sort of say in like,
well, as far as like, yeah.
Like, it's not like they have like nothing to do with it, but I don't think that like the final decisions come from them. Like, they're like, hey, we talked to fans. They keep telling us they want Wolfsbane. Maybe we want to make that at some point, and then they're higher up, which I don't think, like, I think people think of like, oh, the CEO is just not giving us Wolfsbane. It's like the CEO of Hasbro does not care what Marvel Legends are being put out. But
they might not.
People
probably don't know who Wolfsbane is.
Exactly. But yeah, it's yeah. Carry on.
So I don't know. I mean, that always kind of is like frustrating for me, just because like, yeah, it's okay to have grievances and stuff, but at the end of the day, I do think they're fans of the product and passionate about it and trying to bring you the best thing they can. So
yeah,
I forgot about that until I was watching it, but then apparently, in my estimation, that was posted and I think then taken down. Am I right on that? Or no?
I don't watch Talker's stuff enough to know for sure whether he took it down or not, but that's what it sounded like he was saying, was he posted
it and then, or he
talked to Dan like more in private, apologized, and then took it down.
Right.
But then I think it seemed like Talker was upset that Boog hadn't taken that video down. So it's like
which
I kind of get like everybody's allowed to like make a mistake and then be like, oh shoot, sorry, I shouldn't have done that. And then like they can take it down, but then now their mistake is like living on somebody else's YouTube channel that's decently prominent, which I think, I mean, Boog posts like daily updates, so he's got over 1,000 videos, so it's pretty buried. You'd have to like dig and find it, which I did, and it wasn't that hard.
Yeah, but it also seemed even outside of videos there was history. There was there was a lot of discussion in that, from what I watched, of that. I don't even know what I'd call that. It wasn't really a debate. Kind of like a Jerry Springer episode, I felt.
Kind of, yeah. Like Shartimus was trying to moderate two friends.
Well, it's like, yeah.
The two friends hate each other.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It reminded me, of Jerry Springer, where it's like, I don't really think you're gonna get a resolution here. Maybe, I don't know. But there was, of course, a lot of discussion on the timeline. What happened when?
Yeah.
and there were a lot of like screenshots and comments, and you said that, but then I said this, and I don't know. To me, it's just kind of like the equivalent of like, but people are interested, I guess, in like the notion of like a person on a toy channel, like being a person, right? And like, what do you know, obviously you come on here and review toys, but like then I guess it gets into that whole bigger question of like when you start to maintain like what kind of public image, I guess you want to have, such. So, I don't know. It seemed like Shartimus obviously was like, I know both these guys, and I would just like to have some resolution, which I think is a noble intention, I would say.
Yeah.
And we do that. I mean, we'll comment a lot too, just about the nature of sort of the hypercharged, borderline toxic nature of fandom, especially within Legends sometimes.
That's true.
So, because at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, we're all fans of these products, and yeah, we have different feelings, but you know,
collecting toys.
They're also toys. So I don't know. I guess that's why I was kind of unaware of it, but I saw, so they were going on about that, and I think Shartimus was trying to bring it to like a genuine resolution, and there were times of digression and some name calling and back and forth and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It seemed like Shartimus was like trying to keep it light, but like I think Boog especially was like, "No, this isn't light. Like I'm upset," and Talker was just kind of like, "No, this is all a joke," and like, I don't know. That was kind of the vibes I got from like each person of trying to be like, "Oh, I'm gonna like host this sit down, and it'll be kind of like fun. We'll laugh, and everybody be friends at the end, maybe, or just like not hate each other as much." But I don't think that was kind of the outcome. But
yeah, because that had happened, and I guess I kind of got this feeling that, I don't know, it almost seemed like there was, I feel like Boog saying that Talker was like sending people to his channel or something.
Right.
And it was under the tense of like, oh, I'm just sending fans your way. But it's like, I don't know. I don't think I would, especially if there was any kind of controversy, be like on our channel, like, hey, go and check out so-and-so's channel. Tell them that I sent you. You know, it's like, I don't know.
I think for both of them, kind of like they both, I think, tried to be like, oh, I didn't send anybody to like cause issues for you, but they also are both kind of calling each other out in their videos of like you don't post that video of Talker at Comic-Con and not expect people to go be like try to cancel him type of thing.
Boog had reposted that video, and then Talker made a video talking about Boog doing that. Wasn't that right?
I don't remember the like. I don't think he necessarily. I don't think because that video is like a year old.
Right.
So I don't think he maybe like kind of did like a call out in another video of like, in general, people are trying to cancel me for this stuff, and it's, you know, it's all a big joke. But then the day before they had this like sit down, I think it was the day before, maybe 2 days before, he posted like just a 10-minute rant about Boog and just a bunch of like homosexual like jokes towards him and like just super weird graphic nonsense, which like was way over the line. And like that's what Shartimus was kind of saying too. He's like when they first started out, he's like, this is kind of all like been a beef for a while, but then now it's like crossed a line and you're making like a 10-minute diss track.
Right.
And that's where I think even like at the very end, like it kind of like the resolution, if you call it that, was that Talker deleted that video. And he was like, there, okay, we all good, we're friends now. And Boog was like, no, you put the video out, the damage is done, which I totally agree with. I think it would have been ridiculous if Boog was like I think that would have seemed much more staged if Boog was like, okay, yeah, we're cool then. You took the video down, good for you, we're good. But he was like, no, you're still like a jerk for doing it in the first place, so we're not cool. He's like, I don't respect you, I don't care about you, don't see me in person ever type of thing.
Yeah, and it seemed like there was a lot of things they were talking about like in-person interactions and things, and a lot of that is kind of like, how did you perceive it versus how the other person perceived it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it brings to attention the bigger notion of like using whatever influence you have
mm-hmm.
on people who follow you responsibly, you know,
yeah.
like realize like you are, no matter how big, I guess, like when you have people that follow you, or whether it's on YouTube or whatever, it's like you do have a sway in some ways. So like you kind of, there's a comic book hero, Dakota, with great power, there must also come great responsibility.
Very true.
But I don't know. It's just, it reminds me of what I think we try to do here is more just like, not that we'll never acknowledge like things that are upsetting or off,
mm-hmm.
but I think kind of trying to stay more positive.
I don't imagine us doing a diss track on anybody in the community.
Well, yeah, it's just like, what does that accomplish, I guess, is my thought. Like, where does that get you? I guess, but
mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we do try to stay more.
Are we?
Because like I do get the like even though you're whatever, like a YouTube personality, like you don't want to just be, you don't want to ride the fence so hard of like it seems like Boog and Talker lean on their sides of the fences in opposite directions, where Shartimus mm-hmm. is more like, I'm not going to get political, like no one's ever going to know who I voted for, where Talker will be like, I voted for Trump, and Boog will be like, if you vote for Trump, you're a piece of garbage type of thing. Like they'll have a
message, right? Yeah,
right. And which, like, I don't think that's necessarily wrong, because like if you have like something you believe in, you're like, this is like something I'm passionate, like toys are not as important as the world type of view. I think that's fair, but I don't like their kind of clashing was much more personal than just like, hey, I don't believe in your beliefs. And and I think kind of overall, like, to be fair, like I think Boog did at least 80% of the talking during the whole thing. Like Talker would kind of jump in and then Boog would cut him off, or even Shartimus would try to ask a question and Boog would cut him off, which, I mean, I feel like Boog was much more on the, because like he was the one that had like a 10-minute video made about him. So I feel like he would have more to say of like, hey, you wronged me.
Yeah, didn't he say, then Shartimus say that at one point, like you kind of did the talking or something, or, you know, you know, he needs to say his piece, I guess, but.
Yeah. Does it balance out if you did make a 10-minute video and then you get a 2-hour show talking at it? So I don't know. I think Boog could have done a little bit better job of like not saying as much, but then at the same time, like I totally see why he would be upset and heated about the whole situation. So yeah, I think Talker said he's pretty much done for a while because he's moving or whatever, but I mean, he'll for sure, but he most likely will be back. And that's kind of what Shartimus was saying, is like Talker tried to be like, no, I'm like done with YouTube, I don't care anymore. And Shartimus was like, no, you're not. You're gonna like make a collection video, and then you're gonna make another video, and then you're gonna just be back. So like you might be taking a break, but you're not done. Which I think was good, that like Shartimus would try to call both of them out when they would say something, and he was like, I don't think that's quite how it is, Boog, or like like you're kind of talking a little bit like maybe that's almost true, but you're totally leaving out like a detail or something. So I think Shartimus did a decent job for like what he could do in the situation. Like I thought it was good that he actually like used like mute buttons on people, because otherwise it would have just been like off the rails right off the bat. Yeah. I don't know if you can mute specific people, but I think that would have been another good touch if he could just be like, all right, you're muted for now, you're talking, you're muted next, and then
just a little timer. Yeah.
Just 2 like minutes. Pass the spirit stick to talk.
Presidential debate.
Right.
You now have 2 minutes to respond. Yeah.
No. I got to respond to that. He said, I got to respond to what he just... He just called me a bozo. I got to respond to that.
Just get a whole panel.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm almost nervous to say, like, leave a comment and what you think.
Well, I would just
Are we just going to get a bunch of toxic comments here?
Well, I just think I'm more interested in the nature of, like, is this even something that people we, who follow or subscribe to us, like, or watching this, like, were you interested in this? Were you following this? Like, what does this, even just like the nature of, like I said, sort of the bigger implications of like the toy community, because if you do have a channel with a lot of people, like, you can very easily kind of set the tone for what a lot of conversations are going to be, True. So I could see, I mean, out of those three guys, do you know off the top of your head who would have like the biggest following?
Shartimus by far. Yeah, Shartimus has 600,000 subscribers, right. And nobody else is close. So I think
for him, part of that was like, and I think it's a cool idea to like, I'm going to use my voice to kind of like try to, I don't know, repair
like he's
this
the big brother type of thing.
Well, just to be like, the tone of this or the tone of collecting thing, you can't obviously control when, people get on and start saying kind of out of left field inappropriate stuff or using attacks or whatever, but just to be like, hey guys, like, let's just try. And that even happens in our Facebook groups. The moderators will come sometimes and be like, just try to, keep it civil and be respectful, and you can get passionate and say what you think, but like, let's avoid the like personal attacks or that kind of stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think I did try to like kind of look and see kind of where everybody was at with like different videos. Like, I mean, Shartimus, like I said, is by far, I think out of all, I mean, I don't know, like all toys, like I'm sure Lego probably has a good following, but I don't know Lego, but at least out of like the Marvel Legends type of community, he's like way past everybody else with 600,000 subscribers. He's got probably 20 or more videos over 1 million views. I think Boog is probably a little above Talker, but it was kind of hard to tell because if you go back to like their oldest videos, they're both 8 years old, but I think Boog did like a kind of a revamp with ACBA 8 years ago. So that's kind of, I think he's been doing it longer, but and I think he's maybe got 10,000 more subscribers, but I think Talker actually gets more views per video, but he also puts out less videos. So it's kind of like Boog's probably getting more views per month, but they're about even in that sense. And then Shart's way above, and we're catching up.
I was going to say with our growing subscriber base, Dakota, I feel more compelled to weigh in and smooth things over.
Leave us a comment down below. Who should we beef with to grow our popularity?
Who should we have our first major beef with?
Yeah, we can't be taking shots at Shartimus. He's too big.
Feasibly someone we can overpower.
Right. And that's, I was thinking too, if we just like, because I think this one is a little bit more obvious of like, this isn't like WWE style setup type of fake stuff. But maybe we get together with a Collect to Disconnect and be like, hey, we're going to do like a little beef, and we're going to do a video, and we're just going to go like, and then we're going to be friends at the end, and we both gain.
There we go. Win-win.
Yeah. So I think that would be kind of interesting to like, because I think people, like even thinking of WWE, people do love the villains. Like it wouldn't be as interesting if everybody was just friends and they're wrestling around.
Didn't have the bad boys.
Right. And I think, which was interesting, because I think that is Talker's, I think he knows he's that character in the community.
Provocative character that says crazy stuff.
Right. Yeah. And I think it was interesting, because I think Boog had said something about like, I can't remember what his quote was, but it was something about in a community that wants to collect action figures for like, that's like popular because of heroes, you're enjoying playing the villain type of thing.
Ooh.
Which was interesting, but I think because I've even thought of honestly like when I compete on American Ninja Warrior, I was like, I mean, they're not calling me back since I was on in season 9, but like maybe if I come in and be like, hey, I'm gonna be the villain of the season and like just trash talk everybody, because like I think those are fun characters to watch, like the Conor McGregors that are just going around cocky, maybe not like they don't win every time, but it's fun to watch them talk. And then I can understand why that would be an appealing stance to take. Not that I necessarily agree exactly where he's...
Should the strong Should the
ahead.
strong collectors become the bad boys of the toy collecting community?
I don't even want to do it. Maybe you can become the bad boy of the podcast.
I even think within that, who should be the bad boy of the strong collectors?
Good cop, bad cop.
Right.
I think it would almost depend on like the line we're talking about. Because when
True.
the Marvel Legends reveals just came out, I was like, oh, this is amazing. You're like, this is trash.
Right.
I think you'd be like, I love Mezco. I'd be like, I don't care about him. I don't like him at all. I love Legions. Right. You're like, take him or leave him.
Hit or miss for me on the Legends. But no, I don't know. It's just everybody loves drama, so I get it. I get why people are involved and interested, and it's I don't know. We naturally, I think, are intrigued by whatever kind of drama arises, and so I guess we just
take a break from the real world drama of like politics and world news and just funnel it into toys.
And despair and then you just talk about toy drama.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's another thought. But
all right. Well, this is kind of your too long. Didn't watch a 2-hour talk, but here's a half-hour talk of two people that don't really know exactly what they're talking. Like I said, you three don't come after us. We're just trying to talk about what we saw.
Everybody, if you want to see it, I'm sure it's still up there, isn't it? You can go watch all 2.5 hours.
It's probably much better to rewatch it non-live because you can do it at time and a half and just kind of go through it a little bit quicker. At real speed, that it's a long drawn out, a lot of repeating, but I understand why you got to get your points across and everything. But
if you want to see two guys talking about, three guys talking about what the guys within that group talked about, you're in the right place.
I love that we're just like the second-hand video. We just pick up everybody else's scraps on our way to stardom. If you want to talk about
I think you said that one time. If you want to hear guys talking about what guys said about what that other guy said, come here.
Yeah. And now I need somebody to start another YouTube channel talking about what we talk about.
There we go.
And just keep the telephone game going. All right. I don't know that this one's going to be one of our best videos, but if you stuck around this long, let us know. Leave a comment. I don't know if this is really worth sharing.
What? You said let us know. Let us know what?
Let us know that you made it this far. Like,
oh,
hey, I actually watched your full video. Maybe stick to other stuff instead of talking about two guys talking. Anyway.
Whatever.
Like I said, I don't know if this one's really worth sharing with your friends. If you got action figure friends that are in the communities, then maybe. But this one, your mom probably is not going to care about. So share the other videos with her. Still get to see our beautiful faces.
Mother into this.
All right,
get us into a beef.
This is over. Stay strong.
This has gone on too long as it is.
This is your too long, didn't read recap. Let's go. I'll cut that part out. That was too much. Let's go. Skitty bop bop boo.
I'm just making noises.
There's like a Seinfeld transition. Here we go.